Hi, and we are back in 2024, and it's Snappy Chats, and they're back, and it's all about learning and growing. And I'm super excited to be here. I've had 1 year of doing Snappy Chats. I didn't realize how much I'm going to love it, but sure, I love it so much. I'm Christine Bell. I'm a customer strategist, but we're not here to talk about me. This is all about learning and growing in business together, because the one thing I've learned being on my own in business is it can get really, really lonely. And if we connect with other people who are also in business, we can learn and grow together. And guess what? That makes it so much more achievable, because when we need that little pickup, we're not alone. We got someone to reach out to. Now, I'm super excited today. I've got the amazing, amazing guest here today, Mike King, who has a radio show in Virginia. I'm so excited to talk to Mike King and for him to be my first guest today. So we're going to introduce him shortly. Thank you for being here, Mike. What's really important here today is that we're going to spend 30 minutes really getting to know Mike and learning about how he became a radio host. What are the challenges that he has faced in his journey, and how he's now helping other people, having his radio show and helping people in business as well, in terms of how we can all grow together and learn together. Before we do this, I just want to give a shout out to the Hounds of Business and the amazing Mike ASHABRANER, because I wouldn't have Mike King on here today if it wasn't for Mike ASHABRANER. We're going to bring him on later, but if you don't know Mike ASHABRANER and the Hounds of Business, I highly recommend that you reach out. So we're going to bring him on at the end, and he's going to talk a little bit about what him and Mike King are creating together. So thank you, Mike, for introducing me to the wonderful Mike. And also, Mike King, thank you for having me on your show in December. I really appreciate it. So I want to hand over to you. Can you please share a little bit about yourself and your journey and how you got to be who you are today?
Alrighty, thank you. I'm really happy to be Snappy Chat. That's a great name. It really is. It just says something. So my name is Mike King. I have a business radio program. It's called On the Mic with Mike. It is in Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital of Virginia here. We are a program that talks about how business helps society be better. We're a business radio show that happens to air on ESPN Richmond. People say, oh my goodness, I love sports. I'm like, so do I. But we don't talk sports. We talk about business and life and everything in between. We throw some sports in there, but the program and the platform, we highlight what people are doing and making connections on a worldwide scale. That's how we got to you. I saw you, the comment that you made about Mike ASHABRANER and the Hounds of Business. I'm like, okay, who is this lady down under who is talking the way she is about the Hounds of Business? So my program On the Mic with Mike every morning, 5 to 7 a.m. is when we're on, and we talk to game changers and thought leaders. Everyone from 12-year-old or 14-year-old Navy cadets to Hall of Famers, politicians, people around the globe who are doing big things.
I just love what you do and how you got into where you are now. And what I really love, and we had a chat about this just before we went on air, you're so passionate about helping people in business who have a purpose, who wants to do good in the world, who wants to help change the world for the better, and giving the power back to the people and the individual in terms of helping them create businesses and getting their voice amplified on the radio too. So tell me a little bit about, where does this passion come from for helping other people and people in business specifically?
So I grew up, my parents always owned their own business. I wasn't the person who always was dying to be an entrepreneur. I was good. So I was in the Army for a long time. And when I got out, I became a salesman. Being a salesman is kind of like being an entrepreneur. You can generate as much money as you want or can, but somebody else handles all of the grimy, there's Bob from HR, there's Randy who comes from IT when things don't work. So I was good. And then what happened, there were some changes. I started working at a TV station. I started understanding advertising, and a person wanted me to help them with the radio show. And my parents were always on, especially my dad. People showed up with problems, and he was the person who had the answer. He knew the person, and there was a phone call, and I understood and learned the power. A lot of times it's not what, it's who. Who has been down this road who can help you get to where you want? I always say at the end of my show, the microphone ain't free, plus my grandkids need stuff. I love sponsors because they help me stay on the air. That way, from a business model, we can help the nonprofits. Last year, I gave away 24,000 minutes of nonprofit airtime because they're changing the world, and somebody has to give them a platform. I reach out to sponsors and advertisers who allow me to be on the air. That way, we're able to help those who can help the community.
You know what? I love what you're doing. And you know what? It fitted exactly with why I started Snappy Chats last year. I come from a background where I worked in advertising, big advertising, and then in branding and also market research, where we really connect with people and we get to know people. And what I learned is exactly what you talked about. It's all about the connection that we create with others. That's actually how we build together and how we grow together and make a difference in the world. And the one thing that is in the way of small businesses is exactly that: getting their voice out there, getting heard, getting in front of their audience. And big businesses have a lot of money and they throw a lot of money at it. But when you're a small entrepreneur, you got to figure a way out to do this organically. So I just love, and when I say I appreciate you giving airtime to small business owners who have a purpose and are trying to change the world for the better in the nonprofit as well. So I appreciate that so much. Now, you did mention to me before we started as well that you didn't actually had a dream of being a radio host when you were a child. It started you fell into it, didn't you?
I fell into it. I'm really an introvert, but I'm a salesman. This is the sales mic. So I do not work for the radio station. My wife is like, okay, you have a job that you work there and then you pay them at the end of the week.
Yeah.
The business model says if I work for ESPN, I would have to talk sports. But because I'm a customer, I talk about what I want to talk about because they take the money. It works no matter what platform. I'm on ESPN now and I'm doing this. I was on conservative radio and I'm not conservative, but each place takes the money and that allows you the freedom. So one tip here is own your own content and figure out your lane and run it like nobody else because it's your lane.
Yeah. I think that is such a powerful advice to people in business is we come into business, we have freedom when we start our own business. Hold on to that freedom because it's what's going to keep you going. The joy that you get from freedom, at least that's what I get, from being able to express me authentically, not having someone tell me what I can and can't do, obviously within the rules of how we connect with each other in the world. But it's so important to have that free voice. I love how you made it work for you. So what was one of the challenges that you faced as a radio host now that you are a radio host? What is one of the big challenges you've faced in terms of keeping that freedom and really connecting and doing what you want to help other people?
In reality, it is making sure that the sponsors are taken care of. This is unlike a podcast where people put the content out there and you generate revenue on the back end. Mine is front loaded. So when I tell people, I care about what you're doing because when I'd have you on Tuesday for free, on Thursday, I have to pay the radio station for me to be on. Yeah. So to do that, I have to build partnerships with my partners, which is what can I do to help you get to where you need to be? This has allowed me to go into rooms where you're talking to very powerful people. And everywhere along the step of the way, you tell me, who do you want to talk to? Who do you need to? And I'm taking you there with me.
I love that. And you know what you just came to mind here is you are all about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're all about creating win-win situations, aren't you? This is about really having that mindset of win-win.
There's power in numbers. And for a person, the people always say there's no I in team. No, they're not. But if I don't do my part, the team has to work harder and the team ain't going to be happy.
Yeah.
So we all have to do it. There is power in numbers, and there's enough for all of us to win. We can live to fight today. We can get some more tomorrow. And that's the idea, that there is enough for collaboration. There's competition out there, but if you're running your own lane, we can't be dependent on price. And we've all done that. I've done it. And it does take some time for you to realize how people view your brand. There was a time that I wanted to charge someone a certain amount, and boy, this was more than I'd ever really. And I'm like, they ain't gonna pay this because they know me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And right before I press send, I go back and I took 30% off and I sent it. 5 minutes later, the lady calls me back and says, "Oh my God, Mike, you mean we get all of that for that amount?" I'm like, "Excuse me, ma'am. Can I have a second with my client? We need to have a conversation." And at that point, then I started realizing the way the world views me isn't sometimes the way I view myself, which is, come on, Mike, really? You're Mike King Biz. My wife laughs at it all the time. I'm Mike King Biz. I'm just like, I'm Mike. But when I'm helping promote your brand, we're using the power of Mike King Biz. We're using the power of the Better Business Bureau. We're using the power of ESPN, all to get the message, to get us into rooms where people say yes. In this industry and business, everyone can say no.
Yes.
And if you don't think that's the case, look at your doctor's office. There's the rep, the sales rep in the corner. He has donuts. He has baseball tickets in his pocket. You know, he has theater tickets for the receptionist. He is trying to pay off everybody to get to the doctor.
Yes. And what I love what you're talking about here, because it's really about, there's a couple of things in here that I'm hearing. You have to have a growth mindset, an abundant mindset as well, believing there's enough for everyone. And also knowing that everyone has a family to take care of. Everyone is here to make a living as well, as are we. So we have to honor what we are worth, but also know that other people are worth something as well. And for us to get in front of them and to build a relationship, we've got to be willing to give and take equally. Yeah, is that what I'm hearing? So many things in here to unpack.
It's also the mindset of, I'm on Snappy Chats now, halfway around the world, and we're talking about the same thing. Because people are not that different. We're talking about growth mindset. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about how we connected. I'm in Virginia. You're in Australia, and we meet through a guy in Kentucky. It's ridiculous. Know, right? But the idea of it, we all can win. And when you started Snappy Chats, it was an idea. Then you look up and said, wow, I did that for a year. And then all of a sudden, you're like, I can do this. Someone at home has a dream. Right now, I'm going to do this. I'm preparing. I'm getting ready. You know what you got to do? You got to jump in and get started.
So true. You just got to do it. And you know what? I'm one of those people that for a long time has trying to hide myself and not wanting to be number one and always being number two and helping others, and didn't want to step up in myself. And then I had some people like Mike and also another guy called Ed here in Australia saying, you know, you got to get on stage. You got to get out there. Give it a go. You may fail, but you're going to keep practicing and you're going to get better at it. And that's exactly what I did with Snappy Chat. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And then I'm just going to keep practicing and I'm just going to learn it. And I'm just going to do it. And this is the only way to do things. Start doing it, like you said, yeah?
It starts getting easier as you do it. There's a person that I interviewed a while back. He said, don't let modesty get in the way of your marketing.
So true.
Every time somebody has to be number one. Somebody, if you don't have the confidence that you're always the person who's in the back, like for me, I don't wear any other brands. Basically, if my name isn't on it, people are shocked. Like, what's your name? I'm like, you can't read? It's Mike King. It's right there. And people will come up to me, oh, you're Mike King. Yes. And that's why I do it, because no matter where I go, people are like, oh you're the guy. Yeah, I see you all over the place. And that's what it is. So when you broke out of the background, because nobody is going to press and promote your brand like you are. People are like, oh, I don't need to do any marketing or advertising. It's all word of mouth. I'm like, stop it. You know, that your customers are not talking about your business 24/7. Like, unless you do something bad, then you're going to get talked about. But other than that, they're not going to promote it the way you are.
And it's so true what you're saying. You know, we live in such a busy and noisy world. And that's one of the things with the internet, so much as I love it, you know, we are bombarded with information all day from all sides. How many people remember what they actually saw on LinkedIn that day? Not many. So to your point, if you're not there to make sure that people know who you are and you're willing to show up every single day in different places and be very clear on who you are and what you're about, whether that's through actual advertising, through how you show up authentically, how you always act on your values, you want people to remember you. And therefore we need to create that connection, both in terms of emotional connection, but also them remembering who we are. And I think that's what you're all about. From what I'm hearing and talking to you, you know how to create connections with people.
One of the things, I was an only kid for a long time. So and I was in the Army for a long time. I can go and we'll find something that we can talk about. Something, because we all live life, I've never been to Sydney, but people live whether you live in a city, in neighborhoods, you live rural, whatever, people are people, and the world has gotten very small. That is one thing that the internet has done. It's brought us together, and you can find people without being in the same room, which is very important. And you can put your message out there like we're doing with the Hounds of Business. We've found a community of people around the world who are like-minded.
Yes. And that is so important when we connect with people that we resonate with, that we have a heart connection with, that we have values, we share values with. It doesn't matter whether we're in Australia, we are in Asia, whether we're in Africa or America, Europe. We have so much more in common, like you said, than we have that sets us apart. And I think we sometimes forget that in this world that is fairly divided at the moment, is we actually have so much in common. We are more united than you think. It's just that the media sometimes would like to say we're not. But if we go back and realize back to who we really are as humans and what we want to achieve and how we want to help others, there are so many people like us. And most people in this world, is one thing I've learned doing interviews around the world with people doing market research. We mostly have good people in this world. Majority of people, 95% or more, are good people who wants to help other people. And that's important to remember when we're scared of putting ourselves out there. Most people actually want to see you win.
And it's right. People want to see us win. We want to help each other. People are designed, I think, to really help the next person. That's it. And that's what we do. This platform is also, you could feel, especially in business, where sometimes it gets lonely, like, I don't know what I'm going to do and how this is. You need to have a support system. You need to have an ecosystem in place so that during those tough times, like I said, it's not about how, it's about who.
Yeah.
Somebody has been down that road.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is where Mike ASHABRANER comes in the Hounds of Business. He's creating a wonderful platform and community of people who are like-minded, who want to help each other. And it might not be that we all do business together, but guess what? People that we know other people. And this is how we can start building our reputation as well. It's through the word of mouth. And the more people will say, hey, have you met Mike King? He's amazing. The more time they hear that from different people and then they meet you, they already think you're amazing before they ever even spoken to you. And that is the power of building relationship and helping each other promote ourselves and each other as well. And I love that that's what you're doing in your radio show as well, really building a platform for small business owners and nonprofits to really get the word out there and what they do. So how do people get on your show, and how do they reach out to you? There might be someone listening here going, I have something that is really valuable to people out there that I really want to share with the world. How do they get to know Mike King?
Everybody has a story. Everybody has, and we're in the storytelling business. I don't care where you are. Let's tell your story. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Mike King Senior. That's there. The name of the program is On the Mic with This. It's on socials. On the Mic, that's on the MIC with Mike King. No, it's On the Mic with Mike RVA. And it is MIKEKINGBIZ. So between the two of them, you can find me and you can see what we're doing, who we're talking to, how I got on the Snappy Chat. I'm a big deal now. You know that, right?
I know you're a big deal.
Chat.
I appreciate that. Yes. Thank you so much for being in Snappy Chat. I appreciate your time. Absolutely. And we also have all your links in the comments and in the actual post as well, so people can reach out to you. You know what's different about you? Sometimes I was very excited to have, a big name like you on my little Snappy Chat show. And then what's really special about you is that you are so open to meeting people. Yeah, you're not one of those celebrities that no one can actually get in touch with. You're like, get in touch with me, let's have a conversation, tell your story, and see if we have a connection. And I think that's really, really amazing. And we don't see that much of that, but hopefully there'll be more of that in the future. What are your thoughts on that in terms of becoming that person that really allows people in and let people be seen and heard? How does it make you feel, and what does it do for you in your life?
It feels good. So this is the other thing. Everyone says, oh, you're so busy. People are as busy as they want to be. You will find time for something that you care about. We're not talking hours. We're talking about you can change. So me and my wife, we live on a pay it forward model, which is you can change the course of somebody's life today with just a comment. And you don't even know it was a big deal, but you made them feel special. They said something to you. You responded, and that changed how they saw things. So that one is the one thing I think also is that you can help people. The way people come on the program, so people are nervous when they come on. So I see a lady who's sitting there waiting to come on, and she's in a bad way. Well, she runs an amusement park. So I go over to her and I'm like, hey, listen, this ain't brain surgery right here. I'm doing it. I'm not pushing the buttons. I don't know how things work. They don't let me touch anything. So here, I'm like, how did you get into the amusement park business? She said, my mom and dad met and they got married in an amusement park. And I've never done any. I'm like, lady, that's the story. She says, when I have a hard day, I ride an amusement park. I ride the roller coasters. I'm like, nobody else does that. So we're talking about mom and dad getting married in an amusement park, and that's the only place you've ever worked. That's the story. So when people come on, they share their story. I don't have a script. I don't have questions, because you're going to talk about your story. You're going to tell me. We're going to tell an audience, and there's going to be something in there, which is like people are like, wow, we're talking about me and you talking about business. I'm in Virginia. You're in Sydney. And we're talking about, it's sort of the same thing.
Exactly. It's very much the same thing. And the thing is, like you're saying, we all have a story. We're all unique in the way that we were brought up, the experiences we had to some extent, and how they impacted us and who we became because of it. Yeah. And I think what you're telling me is you're really great at bringing out the uniqueness in each person and also letting them see how special they are. And that is a win-win for me, because it's not just about telling a story. It's about making the person who's telling it feel great. And it's about letting the audience connect with that story, even if they come from a different background. But we all have traits in us and experiences that all of us can connect with at some level. And I think that's a really great way to do interviewing and get to know people and connect with the audience as well. Do you have any other advice for people who want to connect more with their audience? Because this is such a big deal when you have a small business, especially if you're not just selling a chocolate bar at $5, that you're actually selling, about an offer that is, at a reasonable price. It's beyond just, people seeing you. They have to connect with you. So what is your recommendation for people who might feel a bit shy, uncomfortable, a little bit nervous? How can they help bring themselves out a bit more and learn that beautiful way of connecting with people at a heart level?
I've turned into the master of this. I think when I have to go to networking events, there are a lot of people there. I'm like, okay, this is not going to be good, Mike. I wear my name on the thing, so people come up and say to me, oh, you're Mike King. That takes the hi, I'm Mike out of the equation, which is easy. Then it turns into this is what I do. So if you're nervous and you think that you're doing okay, wear your logo, and then people are going to come to you. And then that way, once people come to you, people are not so nervous. When they see the camera and the light come on, sometimes people do get squirrely. I understand that. So if we take that out, because you know exactly what you do. Yeah. So here I'd say, wear your logo. Don't wear Nike. Don't wear whatever those things are. I mean, wear your thing on a regular basis, and people will come to you. and ask you
And they
what's
have a
that.
chance to, yeah, exactly. Then you actually open it up to immediately say, hey, who are you? I see your name. What are you about? Yeah. So that's a wonderful way to let people come to you and ask you the questions and open up the conversation.
It starts it off instead of, hi, my name is Mike. What do you do? That's uncomfortable for a person. Now, if you can work a room, God bless you. But for me, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, how many people can I talk to before I can leave?
Yeah. I love that. And that is a mindset as well. Let's get to know as many people as possible. And with this in mind, I want to bring Mike ASHABRANER on. He's in the background at the moment, being a very kind person, helping me manage this today. So I really appreciate it. But let's bring him up because this is exactly what we're talking about. Mike ASHABRANER is fantastic at connecting people. He connected me with you. So Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on Snappy Chat as well. We're talking connection and you are definitely a pro at it.
Yeah, by the school of hard knocks, right? I got my degree by getting my butt kicked in business and LinkedIn for 2 years. So it's a pleasure. I love seeing you guys, man. Your combos are great. Gosh. All right. Am I supposed to ask the final question or what am I supposed to do right now?
Yes, I'm
Yes,
handing
sir.
over to you because you guys got,
You're the master connector. Ask the question, man.
You got it. All right. So, hey, again, guys, this is amazing. Look who I get to roll with, so if you want to know more about the Hounds, man, we're exploding, transitioning, transforming, international. DM me keyword Hounds. So here's the final question. This is the signature Hound question, Mike. You ready?
I'm ready.
He's born ready.
I stay ready. I don't have to get ready.
That's what you do all day. This right here, man. You're made for it. All right. So there is a little Mike King somewhere out there, right? And they feel stuck. They're working the 9 to 5, right? Or something they're just not passionate about. They just get through life. But they see you, they hear you guys, and they want to take the first step. Man, what's the first baby step, the tiny little step forward that they can get out of their comfort zone and start reaching their passion and doing like you've done? What's your best advice?
All right, Christine, you want to go first? Oh no, it's your show. We'll say the best
you
for
go
last.
first, Mike. You go first, Mike.
Take a baby step of something that something that you don't necessarily have to learn. And that way, whether it is you're creative, you can create something, you can do whatever, but take that first step and try it with people that you know. Sometimes people that you know may not be the best, but you'll be able to get a feel for, can I pull this thing off? You don't have to jump in with both feet and go diving in. You can stick a toe in and figure the temperature of the water.
Love it. All right. Since I just commandeered the show, I took it over. All right, Christine, what's your advice?
So my advice is this, and is actually feeding straight off what Mike said. When I first started on LinkedIn, and I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, yeah, but when I started building my business on LinkedIn, whole different matter, because suddenly I had to show up, yeah. I couldn't just sit in the back and hide anymore. And I knew I had to do videos, and I was terrified of doing videos, yeah. And the first video I put out, I was reading a script. I was sitting on here. I edited it 700 times. You could tell I was so nervous, but I put it out anyway, yeah? And all I said in the heading was, hello. Guess what? I had 23,000 people looking at that video overnight. But I didn't take it down. I didn't apologize. I kept going and I kept practicing. And one of the things I did to become more impromptu in my videos was I actually took it off air and I just started videoing myself. And I didn't put them on air. There was no must put it on air. It was just, let's try to practice it and just start practicing in front of a camera. 1 minute, say whatever, have one idea that you want to say, and then just practice saying it on the camera and keep practicing. And at one point, you just got to take the step and put it out there too, knowing that you're nervous. You're going to look a little bit funny, but hey, why not? People respond to you when you say, hey, it's my first time. They go, yes, we're behind you. The power of people on LinkedIn. I've met so many people on LinkedIn who are truly very, very responsive and want to support you, because they're in it themselves. They know what it feels like. And that's it. And I guess it's my show. So I should be finishing up. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the connection. Thank you for the Hounds. Thank you, Mike King. I love chatting to you. I could chat to both of you all day. That could be my full-time job if I could make it paid. If I could get paid for it, I would. because I love it. So thank you so much, the Hounds of Business, Mike King. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Everyone who's looking on, it's 10:30. We're right on time. I can't believe it. Normally I struggle with time, but we're right on time. Thank you for showing up. I see so many people here today from the Hounds and elsewhere. I appreciate you all, and thank you for being my first guest in 24. Any final words from you, Mike King?
I made it big. I'm rolling with you.
Yeah. And thank you for being my first guest on Snappy Chat. What a way to start 24. And it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't actually put myself out there, started connecting with Mike ASHABRANER, met Mike King, and said yes to the challenge when he said, hey, do you want to interview me? I'm like, yes, I will. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
We'll finish.
Take care.
Bye.
First
Have a great
before
night.
confidence.